Hey, what is up, guys? It's Stormy here, back with the Superverse Podcast today. Um, Today, again, I'm joined by... Oh, no, I'm not joined by Landon. Landon, like, where's Landon? Spider-Man, why... So what is Spider-Man doing here? How are you doing, Spider-Man?
Oh, just another great day in the neighborhood. Hanging out, ready to chat some about my new movie coming up.
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk about this trailer for a week now, so I'm glad you're here today. Um, Before we start with the topics, guys, I would like recommend you, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and like leave a like on this podcast. That helps us with our videos, keeps us motivated, and leave a comment down below what you thought of this podcast, and if there are topics that you want us to talk about in the future, leave it down below in the comments, and then we will talk about it on the next podcast. What we're going to talk about today is like we are first going to talk about the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. We are going to break that down a little, talk some theories about it. We also on the show have a couple of other big topics today. Barry Keoghan apparently playing the Joker in the Batman movie. We are going to talk about the Doctor Strange reboot for a couple of minutes. And then we have some things about Miles Morales, some things about Daredevil, and we are going to end off today with some Miss Marvel rumors that have been recently coming out. So we always love to talk about those things. So to start the podcast today, um, Spider-Man. I gotta ask you, man, how was it like meeting those villains again?
At first it was a little shocking because I thought they were all dead. So kind of had to do a double take or two. And they also changed and kind of made some upgrades to their suits or themselves, which was also interesting to see. So always fun, but never good to see an old foe. That's for sure.
Dude, I thought seeing them again on like in the trailer was awesome, man. Like, Green Goblin, no, like Doctor Octopus is undeniably my favorite Spider-Man villain of all time. So seeing him again gave me goosebumps. I'm also like a big Electro and a big Green Goblin fan. So seeing Willem Dafoe and Jamie Foxx reprising their roles is very cool. And then Lizard or Sandman are like the B level Spider-Man villains, but they are still cool to see in this movie. Um, I mean, I gotta ask you something, Spider Landon. Um, what do you think of like there were a couple of things in the trailers that was a little bit like what there was like this part in the trailer where you see um lizards jumping towards nothing, and then he gets punched by nothing, punched by air. Can you fill me in on something that happened with that, because I'm not quite sure at the moment.
It was clearly John Cena,
Was it
because
John?
you
Oh my
can't
god,
see
I thought it
him.
was
He
Drax.
is he is the invisible spider, as we like to call him. No, no, that was an interesting part. I think it'll be a fun reveal in the movie, and there was a few other scenes that you kind of saw some
Oh
fun
yeah.
little editing or noise within the background that might be alluding to some clues as to who else might be in that scene or what else might be in that scene. So it'll be a lot of fun.
I mean, a lot of the Doctor Strange lines that were in the trailer were all like got down and like got together and got them pasted together in like one big sentence, but while it were all like separate words and parts of a sentence that were like pasted together. So
Yeah, it's
um
very cut and paste
yeah.
with his dialogue for sure. You could tell like they were like taking some things out of context or pausing too long or elongating pieces so that we can't tell exactly what's going on, and it sounds a little bit different than what it actually might be said as in the film ultimately. Um, there's a lot of misleading things that happen in trailers, especially Marvel trailers these days, and this one was no different.
But wait, I gotta ask, you are Tom Holland underneath the mask, aren't you?
Oh no, this is a Tobey Maguire mask, so clearly from the Sam Raimi universe. You know, Green Goblin scared the living crap out of me. I thought that dude was gone. I mean, I saw him in a mirror once, but after that, I was like, okay, good, no more. Almost killed me.
So
Freaking pumpkin bombs.
if you're a Tobey Maguire, I gotta ask you, what did you think about Goblin's new look in that trailer?
Well, you know, it was certainly different. Kind of threw me off a bit. You know, he still had his glider, so and those like uh whatever they are, those like bat things that like slice bat razors or whatever they're called. Those
Yeah,
things
it's
are
great.
vicious.
Goblin drones, I think they are called.
Goblin drones, yeah, things are wicked. So I'm not happy to see those back, but he, you know, Mr.
Hey,
Osborn looks quite spry for his age.
yeah, he did, but like I have this like little theory about this because like we got like to see the Goblin in his like costume of like back in the day, like the full Power Ranger suit. But we also got to see a new look of him, you know, where he's like maskless and he's like a little bit more scrapped up or something. Um,
Hmm.
I have this like little theory that it are basically same, not the same version of Green Goblin. That it are maybe two different versions of the Willem Dafoe Green Goblin. So maybe perhaps the one that we see later in the trailer where he's like doesn't have a mask on, he's like the Green Goblin of maybe another universe. Do you think that's
Definitely
something that could be
possible.
possible?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's clear from how Doctor Strange talks and some of the interaction that he has near the end of the trailer that it's very apparent that there's more than just who we've seen coming through this multiversal break or whatever we're seeing in the sky. So it'll be interesting to see what other variants of other well-known villains we see,
So,
or maybe even you know protectors of some kind.
hey, maybe the little protector Venom is coming into
Lethal
this.
protector for sure.
Hey, Landon, Landon, I slipped up there. Spider-Man, I gotta ask you something because you just started talking about it. Um, that rift in the sky at the end of the trailer where Doctor Strange is like, "There's just too many of them. I can't stop them on my own. Who's coming? There's coming. Someone's coming through. Who are those people? What do you
I
think?"
mean, how akin do you think the visuals are going to be to into the Spider Verse? Because if you think about like the Loki visual of like the multiverse breaking,
Mm-hmm.
it was very unique. We see similarities to that here. I'm curious as to what he means by he can't stop them. If it's like other villains, if it's like the whole city, if it's you know what it really is that he's trying to stop from coming through. It could be you know the Dweller in Darkness as we see in Shang-Chi. So very interesting. Kind of where this leads us, what it looks like, some unique visuals it brings, which is really cool. But yeah, I mean, anything at this point, variant villains, um,
What if?
you know,
Yeah.
whole other universe.
What if the start of the Multiverse of Madness was in the trailer already with that scene? What if that's actually
I mean,
the
it
end
totally
of the
could be.
movie?
Yeah, I mean that's so you know there's rumors someone's gonna die at the end, and you know that's what we see at the beginning of the trailer with Tom Holland crying in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Think somebody is going to die, and then yeah, I think the movie could potentially end with that scene where we see the sky ripping open to the multiverse per the Loki visualization, and it kind of mirrors too. It's interesting that it turns purple, so that could lead us to maybe a Dormammu Dark Dimension
Ooh. What about Kang the
post
Conqueror?
credit scene cameo. I was gonna say maybe a Kang the Conqueror cameo post credit scene. Otherwise, it could also be one of the Celestials or another Celestial, another version of um, Arishem or like Isan the Searcher, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of other potential there now that we've opened that door through the Eternals. So I mean, it could really be anything, right? I mean, there could be anything on the other side of that void. So, but it'd be really fun to get some visuals that kind of mix together a little bit of the stuff we got from like WandaVision with like the runes and
Mm-hmm.
kind of Wanda's supernatural powers mixed in with kind of the multiversal rift we see in Loki, but also the visuals we get from What If, where it's like that crystalline like hexagonal like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
glare where there's like a bunch of different sides showing. Really cool, really cool. So a lot of opportunity for this film. I think it's going to look great.
Oh man,
I
I
think
can't wait.
John Watts is going to do a phenomenal job, and I am very excited to see this. Now, I did hear a rumor today, this morning actually, that there's some new footage out there,
Yep.
thanks to a few TV spots that happened last night and or this morning. So always fun to see some new footage. They're ramping up their marketing materials as they should at this time. And I think this movie, if any movie is going to get there, this movie has a real shot to get to 1 billion.
Dude, there was like this the movie is tracking for anywhere between 300 and 500 million opening weekends. Like, and it's coming out in less than a month, man. I can't wait anymore. I have one more theory that is in the trailer. I have one more theory. You know when we see the black and gold suits, and it's been since confirmed that the black and gold suit is basically his black and red suit, but like turned inside out. But what if I tell you that that's not actually Peter Parker in that suit, but what if it's Doctor Strange? Because here's the thing. Peter wants to release these villains, you know. Why would he catch them? Because here's the thing. How did Peter Parker suddenly learn to use magic? Because he uses magic with those gauntlets on his arm, you know. So what if that's actually Stephen Strange in that suit?
That could be an interesting twist. I would like to believe that it's Holland Peter Parker. And I say that for a couple reasons. One, because I think he is smart enough. Two, but I also think Doctor Strange is at that point with Peter where he's like, yeah, cool, I'll like help you work through this suit and
Yeah,
get
that's
you what
true.
you need to get these guys and like catch them. And then I think Peter's going to realize what he's doing after he's caught some of them, and that's when him and Doctor Strange are going to start to feud because Doctor Strange sees it as a necessary action to remove them, to kill them, right, to bring them back to their normal state where they should be, right, from their universe. They should be dead, or some degree of it, and I think that's going to be another key conflict within the film. I mean, this film is going to be utter chaos, and I think we have to prepare ourselves for the wild ride it's going to be. It's going to feel like, and I hope it doesn't have the same pacing, but it's going to feel like a little bit of the Rise of Skywalker pacing level, it seems like. 'Cause, I mean, how else are you going to get to this much of a story jammed into 2 hours? And what's the rumored runtime? 229,
Yeah,
239,
something like that. Apparently, it's going to be a very, very, very long movie.
I mean, it's not that long if you really think about it, right? There's,
I mean, I
there's
heard,
Endgame.
I heard it was going to be longer than Eternals, so that's like it would be longer than 2 hours and 40 minutes with that. So, guess we'll have to wait and see. You know, I wanted to talk about like a couple of like other things that Tom Holland said this week. Apparently, and this is something that Holland said, but actually came out of like a couple of reliable scoopers and leakers talked about this also. Apparently, Sony's plan with Spider-Man going forward is to also bring in Miles Morales. Now, I'm going to I'm going to make a couple of people mad right now. In my opinion, and in my opinion alone, this is my opinion again. So I'm not going to bash anyone else's opinions about this, but this is my opinion. In my opinion, Miles Morales is a cooler and better Spider-Man than Peter Parker is. His power sets, exactly. Not necessarily his story, but I think Miles Morales has always been the cooler Spider-Man of the two, in my opinion. I think
love
someone
to
is
see it.
I think
It'd
someone
be
is
a
offended.
great it'd be a great addition to the universe, the story, the arc that they're playing on. They gotta have a Spider-Man for every universe at this point. And if they're building a multiverse or a Spider-Verse live action version and animated version, then they kind of have the blueprint themselves already. So I'd love to see where this goes. Intrigued. I'd love to see a live action Miles. It'd be great to see a tease for it. Not sure if it'd be an MCU base, but since this is a Sony MCU collaborative project, we could potentially see a tease for Miles Morales film later after the end of this No Way Home.
I mean, his
Or even
groundwork
at
is
the end of
already in the MCU,
Morbius, right? I mean, no, I know. The groundwork's there for MCU, but MCU's got to work with Sony a little bit longer.
That's
Who
true.
knows if those future Spider-Man projects are Sony or if they're Marvel properties or if they're a little bit of both. So there's a lot of unknown right now around that, but I would love to see it. It'd be great. Miles has a fun little set of skills, and it'd be cool to see him interact with some of the same villains, or he has quite the rogues gallery himself. So I think he should be okay.
By the way, did you hear those? Words that Tom Holland said that he would not like to play Spider-Man anymore after he turns 30? Like, what's up with that? Like,
is that a surprise?
Sorry, go ahead.
Is that a surprise?
Hey man, look,
It shouldn't be. I mean, nobody wants to be stuck in the same role for their whole life. Who cares how good they are for it, how well they've done in it? Everybody wants to grow and change and become diverse. So we have to give him that opportunity, and just take advantage of whatever he's willing to give us for his Spider-Man time. He's given us a lot. He's still rather young, so he's still potentially got, who knows what, 2, maybe 3 more movies in him as Spider-Man if he wants them, I'm sure. And we'll go from there. Right? Like, this is how it's going to be, how it's always going to be, how it will be forever, as long as they continue to maintain comic book films. And with the MCU interconnectivity and Sony trying to do something similar, it just complicates things, right? So they're going to have as much continuity as they can, just like they did with Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans and Captain America, as long as they can, to make it work. And they'll tell the story they can, and then they'll have to let that character, that version of that character, go. And we'll have to do the same thing with Spider-Man. Does not change anything.
But it paints
it's just the reality of the situation. Yeah, I mean, Tom is just being forward. He's being who he is. He's telling us, hey, I'm in this for the long haul, but my long haul is here. I need to live a life that isn't just Spider-Man.
That's true.
And you can see him trying to do that through Uncharted and all the other stuff, all the other projects he's worked on over the last couple of years. And he's only going to continue to grow and develop. So it's like, at some point, he was going to walk away. And I think he's just trying to tell us now, hey, I might only be in it for X number of more years. And we all, as a fan base, have to understand that that's where he's at. That's what he wants to do.
I mean, let's hope that like the 2 or 3 more movies that he gives us will be perfect, so that he can, so that Spidey can have his like time in the spotlight, and then. But hey, him going away doesn't necessarily mean that like his version of Peter Parker, that we don't see him anymore. Like, he can still pop up in a cameo from time to time, Hey, by the way, Spider-Man, it's you can unmask now, I think. Oh no! What a liar! What a liar! Saying that it's Tobey Maguire and it's basically Landon underneath that mask. What the hell is that? Damn. Changing into a new topic, Landon. talking about Eternals first, because we are going to segue into another topic, but like the actor that has been rumored to be in the Batman is Barry Keoghan, and for the longest time we all thought that he was just going to play like a some kind of a Gotham PD officer or something. Apparently, this is coming from major sources that he's
His
actually going
brother.
to play. What? Go ahead. Sorry.
And his brother.
His brother
Isn't that who leaked this initially?
is. I don't know, man. Like I saw
I
that.
thought it was one of his family members, like his brother or his cousin or
Did
something,
he?
that like leaked this
No way.
artwork when Eternals first came out.
Oh my god.
The first week of November, I thought, because remember we talked about this like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah, we
or
did.
last week we were talking about this, and I didn't want to say anything because it was just a rumor, because it was just artwork that was shown and shared by someone that was close to him.
Dude, oh my god. Hey man, talking about Eternals really quick, man. That movie crossed 300 million at the box office
Yeah.
last week, so cool for them.
People said
No,
it was a
but
flop, and it's not.
sorry, go ahead.
It's not. I mean, it's not. It wasn't a flop.
No, it
It
wasn't.
wasn't.
Like, it certainly
It just
wasn't.
wasn't. It just wasn't. People will continue to say, "Oh, this movie failed." All this other stuff. Like, it didn't fail.
No, it
didn't.
definitely didn't. If this movie failed, then Shang-Chi failed, then Fast 9 failed, Black Widow failed.
Everything that's come
Failed.
out since the pandemic has failed. That if that's the threshold, then nothing has been a success. Zero.
No, but going again,
Oh.
going back to Keoghan as
Yeah,
Joker. I don't know what to think about it, man. Like, I know he's a good actor. I've seen him do a couple of great things. Druid, his role in Chernobyl was very, very good. That was like one of his first acting jobs, and like from that moment I saw, man, that's a good actor. But you know, playing the crime prince of Gotham, like playing the Joker, like you need to have a certain aesthetic over you, in my opinion. And I don't know if I'm getting those vibes from Barry Keoghan, to be honest. I would more see him as like a Mad Hatter or a Riddler or something. I don't necessarily
So-
see him as a Joker.
That's fair, right? I can agree with that too. But I also think that what Matt Reeves is attempting to do is create the Court of Owls. And for that, he needs a good rogues gallery. If you think about the Batman animated film, I think it's a animated film series, the Long Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
That one is kind of quite telling to what I think we're going to get from this film. I think the Riddler's heavily involved, right? Because we already know Paul Dano, Riddler, that's like one of the main villains. We know the Penguin's in this, we know Catwoman's in it. I won't be surprised if we have a few other notable cameos of Batman villains. It'd be great to get a Mr. Freeze. That'd be fun. I think we're going to see Barry as the Joker. I don't know if he's going to play a pivotal role in the film, if that makes sense. I think it's going to be more of like a cameo type thing where we know who he is. It's acknowledged as to what role he's playing, but I think because the goal of Matt Reeves' Batman is like, right, Batman year 2, right? He's like a year 2,
Yep.
year 1, year 2 detective type thing. So building off of that, I think if he can get another film, he's going to stretch as much as he possibly can too. And I think that if he sets up the right pieces in this film, he can play off of them better in the next. And I certainly have faith in Matt Reeves and Pattinson that they're going to do good things. The film and what I've seen from it looks good so far. But I do have a little bit of fear it can get a little too busy, because I know I'm still concerned about the Spider-Man film from that aspect of the amount of people who are in it. But right now there's nothing stating that we couldn't see him, that Barry isn't the Joker. No, I mean, we know he's in the film, right? We know he's at least there. He's going to show himself. So what if we see him as somebody else, or he's introduced to us as a different character, and then later on at the end of the film we realize who he actually is, and it's like a major twist as we end the film, right?
True.
Because I don't think this
Oh man, that
ends
would
in
be
like
cool.
a nice tied knot. It's not a nice bow. it's going to be a mess, and then he's going to continue to try to pick those pieces up as he moves forward. And if, like I said, if they want it, I would think they might give Reeves another film or two to tell his story if he's going in that right direction.
I mean, now that we are talking about it, like, at the moment, that Batman movie, if that Batman movie were to be very good and the movie gets, say, a trilogy, what are some other notable Batman foes that you would like to see in that trilogy? Because right now we already have, like, Catwoman, Riddler, and Penguin in the movie. Apparently Barry Keoghan is going to play Joker. I would suggest that there are two villains that, in my opinion, have been underused very much over the last couple of, like, all the movies of Batman. I want a new iteration of Mr. Freeze. Not a Mr. Freeze that talks like this, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, No, but, like, I want a real good Mr. Freeze, and I want a awesome. What's his name again? I want Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter is like,
that's a good one.
Because for the longest time I was thinking, like, Barry Keoghan was going to play the Mad Hatter. That's why I got so fixated on that idea. That's right now I'm like, damn, he's not going to play Mad Hatter. No, I don't know.
He still could, right? It's still a rumor as to who he is playing. I mean, just because we've seen artwork that shows him depicted as the Joker doesn't mean that he's technically the Joker, right? And it's still
not because of the concept art, but some of the words that have been coming out since then definitely hints that he will be. Some of the early screenings.
Scarecrow too, like a better Scarecrow. Like, I mean, Cillian Murphy was good in Batman Begins, but I think they could do that character a little bit more justice if he had, like, a little bit more. How do you say it?
He should have been scarier.
He needs more, like, ambiance almost.
Yep.
It seemed very, like, straightforward in the original Batman Begins. Like, and don't get me wrong, he did a great job in that film. I just think that the character could be given a little bit more, and he would play a little bit better. And it would be a fun villain to bring back, especially since they are bringing in so many already from the start. But again, I think that's a huge point to what the film's trying to, like, depict and where it's going. So, like, I'm very excited.
Oh man, I can't wait for that movie. It's coming out in March, huh? March it is coming out, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's like one of the only DC properties that I'll still probably get behind.
By the way, me and Landon are going to be holding a DC, not really a DC rant, but more of a why Warner Brothers is killing DC rant, and more of like a Warner Brothers rant. Why that DC is so great and it's getting ruined. Why they hate money. Like, this is basically a passion project of Landon that he's been wanting to do for the past couple of months. And, like, with us having a new podcast now, we finally have the chance to do it, So that's coming soon. Going into another topic. Landon, I'm going to give you the choice. Are we going to talk about Daredevil or Doctor Strange first?
Let's do Daredevil first.
Daredevil. All right. Last week, Landon gave this entire rant for the Echo series, why he's not hyped for it, why they should have better do a straight up Daredevil season 4 or a Daredevil reboot. For some reason, I think literal, like, Marvel people higher ups at Marvel are watching our content or something, because I've seen this ever since we were still at Everyday Geeks. Every time that we talked about something, the week after it, a rumor about it came out, and it's like, what the hell is going on, man? So, like, we got this rumor right now that that Marvel is fast tracking developing a Daredevil new solo series for Disney Plus, and apparently it will be a soft rebooted version of the Daredevil that we saw on Netflix. So, Landon, I'm going to ask you the question. Would you be okay, and this is something that I have a couple of problems with, it being a soft reboot, would you be okay if this series brings in Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox, Wilson Fisk, Vincent D'Onofrio, but recasts all the other actors.
Man.
That's a difficult one, you know, because I would definitely have lots of
Yeah.
problems with it.
Yes. I ultimately I think I'd be okay with it.
You'll be
And I
okay with
say
it?
that yes, I would.
Damn.
Because I as much as it would suck and as much as I would love to have some of the other defenders, quote unquote, from the Netflix series come back, I think they could do just as good of a job recasting them. I think Matt Murdock was clearly Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock is clearly the fan favorite show from all of those. I think it definitely has the most appeal as it moves forward from the story we're telling at the city level, right? City global level.
I think you misunderstood me a
And
little bit. I was
what do
actually
you
not
mean?
really talking about like the other like hero shows. I was talking about like the Daredevil characters. Foggy
Yeah,
Nelson.
no, no,
Oh, okay. Oh,
no,
go
I
ahead,
know,
go
I
ahead,
know.
go ahead.
I'm just alluding to the fact that
All right, yeah,
in
yeah.
Netflix they kind of
Sorry.
got like intertwined, right, a little bit. So I think Charlie Cox and D'Onofrio would be great to bring back. I think that we're going to get a taste of D'Onofrio if the rumors hold true in Hawkeye, and I think that since they already kind of had good interaction in that previous, I think that's the point of a soft reboot, right? A soft reboot is to get the story into another universe, not necessarily change the interaction that was already happening between Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock. And I think that plays well with the direction that we're going with the MCU on that global level, right? She-Hulk, the Echo series, Daredevil series itself, plus the other potential for him to show up in a couple other properties would be great, right? So it'd be really fun to see, and I think it's something we've needed for a while, and I'm glad that we're starting to hear about more of this level of um, I guess talks or production or interaction
Mm-hmm.
with Charlie Cox, because it's somebody that people thought was cast very well from the beginning, and I think he do a great job along with Vincent. I think they're both great in the roles that they played, and I want to continue to see them in those roles, and I'm okay with missing everybody else if that's all I get. And that's what the soft reboot means. It's just taking literally those two pieces of the puzzle and plugging it into the MCU. I'm fine with it. I will always be okay with that, because you can't we as fans can only cry so much, right? And try to get the right people cast or the people that we want cast. And I think that this is one of them where we've talked so much, it's been discussed so heavily, and he was so loved as that character that it would be doing the fans a disservice to not even attempt to bring that character into the universe if you're already thinking about building a Daredevil storyline and a Daredevil character in the MCU. You don't ignore Charlie Cox. You bring him in. It's just it should always be this way, right? If there was if Mahershala Ali was in this position for Blade, I'd be screaming, yes, please, we need him. Like the fans finally got him in the right position, right, and get him into the MCU. So like, it sucks missing everybody else. I see where you're coming from, but on the other hand, Charlie Cox is Daredevil. Like,
Yeah,
what do
they
you
can do
want?
so much
Yeah,
with him.
exactly.
I hope one thing that I hope when they reboot him, I hope they give like him more of like a, because here's the thing with Daredevil in the comics. While he's a street level character, he's like one of these characters that's always hanging around with the Avengers, you know. He's already around in the
Yo,
big missions. While he's
dude. Okay, hold on.
oh,
Can I say one thing?
go
One
ahead.
last little blurb. Shadowlands. Give me
Oh,
Daredevil Shadowlands storyline. I'm toast. I'm yours.
Loki,
I'm
the
yours.
Shadowlands Daredevil suit is the coolest of all of them. I said it,
Oh, dude, I'm right there with you. I love that suit.
but it's a
People
hot
hate it,
take,
but
man.
it's like so good. It's so cool.
Yeah, Shadowlands is a great storyline, but it's a complicated storyline, so
It is. But I mean, where are we going in the MCU if we're
very
going in
much
that direction?
complicated.
And we're going into this mess of a universe that until it gets reset is just busted open. I mean, we could start seeing stuff like this in She-Hulk. right?
That's
Because
true.
at least the rumor right now is that that's where we're gonna first see outside. I mean, so right, there's kind of been some leaks that have shown Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock in Spider-Man, so he should show there, right? And then She-Hulk, and I think in between there we're gonna get introduced to Wilson Fisk, Vincent D'Onofrio, and his new role as Kingpin. And I think that's going to then he's going to be kind of that villain for all of the Disney Plus series until we get maybe a more formal Taskmaster or the Hand becomes the thing. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that they can go, but I think if they take Daredevil in the right direction and do Shadowlands and things like that, I think we go into a really fun, unique, and supernatural area because then we could get like a White Tiger. We could get like we already have Moon Knight coming, and I know we want a Midnight Suns, but it'd be cool to see like a Midnight Suns arc after a Shadowlands arc, and then
Mm-hmm.
have Moon Knight like get a better understanding of who he is in the Shadowlands arc, and then really dive into the Midnight Sun stuff like head on when we go full supernatural.
I mean, Moon Knight is a character that walks that line. He walks that line of being a street character and being a Midnight Suns like mythical,
Mm-hmm.
no, not mythical, magical, uh, dark character. Like
Supernatural, dark.
supernatural. Yeah, I didn't come up with the words. By the way, you just talked about Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin being like the overarching villain of those things. Vincent D'Onofrio is such a troll, man. Did you see his tweet about Hawkeye this week?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, that man is just like he can't wait for people to witness him in that series, man.
He's doing what everybody wants these actors to do because they can't say anything, right? They are under an NDA. They can't physically answer your question straight up. So they have to be fun about it and they have to be creative with how they share. And he's doing a great job right now of being creative with how he's sharing and hinting at where he's going to appear. And I think that's a lot of fun because he can't confirm anything. He's not supposed to say a word. His appearance is supposed to be a surprise. And he is just teasing all of us until we actually see it happen. And I'm sold.
I mean, you
Shoot.
can
Hawkeye comes out like next week or this coming week on Friday.
yeah, Friday. Oh yeah, man, Friday. Yeah, I know. That's true. I was thinking it was coming out on Wednesdays.
I believe it's Friday. Because they dropped 2 episodes.
Yeah, true. Are there 2 episodes dropping?
That's what I heard. Aired Hawkeye's this Friday and it's 2 episodes.
Oh
Because they're
really?
trying to
I did.
get it in quick
I
enough
forgot
before
about
Book of
that.
Boba. Because Hawkeye's supposed to be 8 episodes, and we need to get 2 done this week. There might be 3 dropping last week potentially. I'm not entirely sure. I did hear 2 though. I for whatever reason I heard 2 more than 3. So I was under the impression that Friday there was 2.
I
And then
get.
I think, like I said, I think there's 8 episodes, and they want Book of Boba to be running on its own when it starts, and that's end of December. So there'd be a little bit of overlap, but unless they're going to accelerate the pacing for Hawkeye, which they could, right? They could only do 6 episodes, and it'd be fine.
I can't wait anymore, man. I think Hawkeye. We have been talking a lot about multiverse and cosmic MCU and like things, but I think Hawkeye has a chance to like really open up that like street grounded level MCU.
Telling you,
Open it up
man,
in a massive way. I
a lot
definitely
of the
hope that.
movies. Here's my thought right now, and I'm starting to see some of this. Like Shang-Chi was probably one that played both parts really well. But I think a lot of the movies are going to start tackling more of the cosmic adventures, right? The larger galaxy adventures. And a lot of the series are going to really touch into the global city level stuff. And then we're going to get huge points for like global city level movies. And Spider-Man No Way Home is one of them, right? We've had a full year of series, and now we're going to get a big global level movie, right? But yeah, in that interim, we've had like Loki, which has been cosmic level. We're gonna get when we got Shang Chi, which had some cosmic level too. We got Eternals, which was like cosmic as cosmic gets. And we're gonna continue to go down this path. Thor: Love and Thunder, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Multiverse of Madness, right? So it's movies basing us in the cosmic universe and then series basing us in the global, where we want the detail, right? Where we want those fun little cameos from all the characters that exist, because we want to see, Kingpin. We want to see, Spider-Man swinging through the city when we're watching She-Hulk, because she's talking with Matt Murdock and
Mm-hmm.
they're walking through, Times Square or something ridiculous like that. And oh, so that's where Spider-Man swings through, right? Just like that
Yeah.
interconnectivity piece that they can bring and like really make it feel like it's that universe, right?
That's something that I always liked about the comics, because like
Hmm.
in the comics it's like, well, I'm going to give you an example. World War Hulk. Did you read it?
No, I am
No.
not.
So in World War Hulk, you have this like massive fights with like Hulk, and like then the Avengers and the Illuminati are battling with him, and you see like Thor like flying Hulk throughout the air, and Captain Marvel is joining that battle. I thought, but then what it always does in those comics, and there are a lot about that. Most Avengers comics do this. You have like these like little cutouts of the big scenes, where you have like these street level characters saving people on the street, getting people into basements, saving children, because like here's something that I always thought could have made the Avengers that one bit better, because like if just imagine this, Avengers coming out in 2012, and we had like a huge Marvel universe at that time. Maybe the MCU was already 20 years in. I'm just saying something. And you have the Avengers, and you have like the big mission with like the 6 Avengers. But then you have like this cutout scene where like Daredevil and say like Luke Cage or like in the back streets saving other people, That's
Hmm.
something that I always loved in the Avengers comics, and that's something that I love they do in the movie.
Hmm. I mean, it'd be fun to see it, right? Again, we know this universe exists. They've clearly connected enough properties. They can continue to drop enough cameos and pieces in everywhere to make it work. I just think, it's there's going to be that breaking point of that threshold that they cross, where they just like, you know what? It's a global level story. We have to see everyone there that they've developed, and we're gonna get, some sort of crazy Avengers team up movie that's gonna be like Secret Wars or something crazy that's coming next. The Secret Invasion could totally be a piece of this. It'd be bananas. There's so many possibilities. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean,
Yeah, I get.
we've been talking about this and waiting for it for, what, 2 years now essentially, because all the delays and all the the pandemic and everything like that. So now that we're here and getting closer to everything opening up and it making more sense, we'll have more to pontificate about and talk about, I'm sure, at the end of this calendar year. But right now, it's all hype for Spider-Man, all hype for Hawkeye, and just ready to see what the MCU brings us next, because there's a lot out there that they could do, and I'm excited for what we get.
The next movie after Spider-Man No Way Home will be Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Um
Yeah, but we're supposed to have what, two more series in between there, because Miss Marvel's supposed to be January and She-Hulk is supposed to be like February, March, right?
Nothing
And
is
Doctor
confirmed
Strange
at
is
the
May.
moment, man.
Yeah, I know nothing's confirmed. I'm just saying it's all rumored. It's all what's kind of being their target, right? And we know how these work. They don't want to overlap with Star Wars, so we're gonna get Book of Boba well into January, February timeframe. So Miss Marvel will either go Wednesdays, and I think Miss Marvel is gonna be first. I don't think She-Hulk's gonna be
I
first,
mean, they said
based on
they
the
said Miss
teasers we
Marvel was
got.
delayed till like July or something. So
Yeah, summer, right? But we also heard that about what was it? What If around this time last year, and it
yeah, that's
still showed
true.
up in August when they initially announced it to be shown. So like, delay, whatever. At this point, I guess I'm numb to them a little bit, but I in my mind, and maybe I have it mixed up. Maybe it's gonna be She-Hulk first. I still think we're gonna get two properties on Disney Plus potentially before Doctor
I
Strange,
hope
or it'll be
so.
like one property, Doctor Strange, another property to sandwich it
You
in.
know that we Marvel fans are really spoiled right now, man. Because like
Oh, we are.
I mean I remember like I sent out a tweet about this last week, and it was like basically like, hey man, what if like we get no Disney Plus shows between Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness? And this guy with like a Star Wars profile picture literally answered like, dude, don't be grateful that you're actually getting something, you know? But like we Marvel fans are just spoiled nowadays. We are just getting used to like having a show or a movie every month of the year. So
I mean, kind of, right? It's always been. Here's what gets me sometimes when people like this has always been so inundating, right? There's always been this huge following and this large group of people that like comic books, right? Marvel, DC, Valiant, all the random indie comics, right? Comics as an industry. There's always been the film lovers, Star Wars, old Batman, old Marvel films, right? Old cinema, stuff like that. So it's always existed. I guess what surprises me is that people didn't want to believe that it had existed prior, and now it's now being created into properties that are on prevalent platforms like Disney Plus, right? Because Disney has their hands on Marvel, they own Marvel, so they now get to produce all the properties they want. So it's kind of it's always been there, I guess is what gets me. And if you know kind of thing, and if you don't now you know, I guess. Like it shouldn't be a surprise because of the popularity of Star Wars, because of the popularity of Spider-Man and Batman and Superman, right? It's always been around. I mean, since these comics existed in what, like the 1920s and 30s, when
yeah.
some of these characters were first invented, like the run has been unbelievable, and they're still coming out with new comics and stories and other iterations and things like that. And it's like just mind blowing that people are like, oh yeah, 100 years later we're still talking about. It's like, did you think it was going anywhere? Like, there's literally a new generation of kids brought up on this content and these stories and these comic books and stuff like that all the time. So like, why do you think it's going anywhere? Once a nerd, always a nerd, and you're gonna pass it on. So like, it I guess it's just nobody considered it or thought about it in the past, or like realized the large population, or how many people actually like were into these things, or like really cared about these things. But now that it's like mainstream culture, right, to some degree because of the MCU, people say this all the time, man. Like it shouldn't be a surprise. Well, why do you think Superman and Batman and all these other characters have been able to do comic runs for this long? They've been doing it for at least 50 years. So it shouldn't be a shock anymore. It
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be. Yeah, in the 50s and 60s it probably was. 70s when they started building properties around it. 80s when they started filming. 90s when they started really inundating with comic book movies again. Is it a surprise? I mean, yeah, we went through some churn and went through like a 20-year period almost where we didn't have any relevant comic book movies, and what did were either standalone greats, Christopher Nolan trilogy, Sam Raimi's, at least first two films.
X-Men.
Just shocks me sometimes to hear stuff like this from people. And I know you're one of the kids like me, right? We grew up on this stuff. We're gonna share this with our friends and
Oh yeah,
the
for
rest of our
sure,
family whenever
dude.
we have
I
one, whatever else happens. It's just like it shouldn't be something that people are that surprised about. It is everywhere, always has been, and always will be.
I always tend to say that Marvel is the Star Wars of like our generation. You know, like we are the people that in like 30 years time, when there's a new Marvel movie coming out after 2 or 15 years of no Marvel movies or something like that, we will be the
Hmm.
ones camping out at that theater for
Oh
15
yeah.
days straight to be the first in. You know, we are going to be
Oh,
those
for sure.
people. Like that's what this thing, what this universe has been doing with us. But going into the Doctor Strange topic right now, um, there was a little bit of a not really controversy, but like people were getting scared that Multiverse of Madness was in bad water at the moment because they are doing 6 weeks, 5 right now because 1 week already passed. 6 weeks of straight reshoots,
Hmm.
and for the from the first time that I heard that, I was already like, that doesn't mean anything. They're just like putting in a lot of cameos that they couldn't shoot while they were in the pandemic. People were having scheduling issues. That's why they are doing those reshoots right now. And they basically confirmed that's the thing. So, what are like some of the cameos that you would like to have in that movie, because we know the multiverse is opening in a big way. One that I can, the big Wolverine fan that I am, I can just not let go of the idea that we could be getting Hugh Jackman Wolverine in this movie and a cameo.
All right, so cameos I want to see that might not be 100% realistic. I would love to see Deadpool. That'd be fun. Maybe some more X-Men like Cyclops. That'd be a fun one. Nightcrawler, for sure. Maybe a Phoenix, Gambit, Rogue, kind of cool.
All the X Men,
Beast.
basically.
Yeah. I mean, again, X-Men for sure. Uh, I think other cameos that would be really fun, but I don't know if are really a thing, would be like Blade and or like Morbius and
Howard the
Venom.
Duck from
Don't,
the 1980s movie.
Not sure.
Oh.
Not sure that's gonna be a thing. Now, cameos that I think are realistic and I think will are actually the reason for us going through these reshoots or talking about them. Wanda, right? Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, White Vision,
But Wanda
Catherine
in the
Hahn.
cameo, you know, she's like a
I'm not saying
co.
she's gonna. They didn't just say it was for cameos. It's for people that they could
Oh
not
yeah,
get a hold
yeah,
of because of other scheduling conflicts. So everyone's assuming, oh well, it's because this, and they were doing cameos, and they want to bring in Eternals, and they want to bring in, the Black Knight, and also, what if it's the freaking main villain of the whole thing that they've just been waiting to get their hands on, right? Like there's 80% of this film that we're like, oh, this film's done, and Sam Raimi's like, I haven't even shot with Elizabeth Olsen yet. Like, what are you guys high on? But no, so like I think maybe more stuff with her. I definitely think that they're going to have to bring in Catherine Hahn as well. I for sure think we could be getting like a Ghost Rider cameo and a Blade cameo in this. This I don't think is that too far fetched based on the premise of the film. And then I think we could also be seeing a Baron Mordo return. I think it's expected. I think
Oh.
everyone, I think everyone expects him to be in this film, but I think he's going to be a cameo, not necessarily a larger role. I think he's going to be something that sets up for after the outcome of the film. The consequences of Doctor Strange meddling the way that he did, and I think Mordo is going to be the one that's going to have to clean up that mess to some degree. So could there a lot of possibilities, right? Rumors of a Professor X, rumors of a lot of other people, but those are the ones to me that kind of fit the bill, and I could see them trying to get other individuals that were either doing other properties for Marvel, filming series or whatever it is, or just had straight scheduling conflicts with other movies and things they were doing.
Hey, listen up, man. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Look, here's the thing. The end of that trailer, like it basically seems that we are going straight from Spider-Man No Way Home into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So I wouldn't say it's too far-fetched that like the three Spider-Man plus Venom plus Miles Morales plus all
Dude,
these
it
other
depends on how
Spider-Verse
the
things.
Spider-Man movie ends, man. Like if that scene is really the end of it, then yes, I agree with you. I just don't think that that is quite the. I think it's like the beginning of the final act of the film. I think that scene
Mm-hmm.
with Strange is potentially the beginning of the final act, and I think there's going to be. I don't think we're gonna see. If we do see the three Spider-Man, which I'm still skeptical about, even though there's some proof. Um, I don't know if they stay.
No, I was just nerding out. You know, they probably won't stay,
Oh, for
but
sure.
like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, it'd be sweet, right, to get
yeah, it
them
would.
as a cameo. But again, I think it's little things, right? It's touching up some more pieces with Bettany, touching more pieces with Catherine Hahn, getting up maybe another new scene with Elizabeth Olsen and like Blade together, or Ghost Rider together, or something like that, right? Two people they didn't have available at the same time. So we could not only be looking at new scenes, but new interactions, new cameos, new additions to scenes, right? Where like they shot it and they didn't have Blade, and then now Blade's a part of the scene, or they shot it because it was just supposed to be Wanda and Ghost Rider, but now they want to add Benedict Cumberbatch back in as Doctor Strange. Shoot, it could even be something like a nightmare
Mm-hmm.
type Mephisto person coming in, somebody that they've teased or already brought in another property that kind of looks suspicious and weird, and then all of a sudden, oh, yep, okay, here's their true purpose. So that just, I mean, there's so much, right? Sam Raimi and Benedict Cumberbatch gave notes or interviews on the film, and they said it's gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna be like nothing we've ever seen before. So like, Multiverse of Madness is just that. It's madness. There's gonna be so much. My only fear is too busy of a film with too much cameos and too much kind of side stories and plots going on. But at this point, I mean, Marvel's proven they can do it. So let's see what
Mm-hmm.
they have for us. And Supernatural me out the wazoo. I want everything supernatural in this movie. If I don't get enough supernatural, I will be disappointed.
I'm actually going to you like supernatural things very much out of these movies. Um, did you see on Twitter this week? This is coming from Daniel Rickman, but we already knew this basically. But we got further confirmation that yes, DC is committing in doing Justice League Dark for HBO Max.
Yes.
Justice League Dark, for the people who don't know, maybe like our Marvel audience that's watching right now, Justice League Dark is basically Marvel's version of the Midnight Suns, and that's with me saying that is actually, I should say, Justice League. No, Midnight Suns is Marvel's version of Justice League Dark because they came first. But yeah,
Mhm.
Justice League Dark is basically this group of supernatural DC characters. Think of Swamp Thing, Constantine, Zatanna, Batman, Etrigan, all these like supernatural characters, and I love and breed these characters, man. Like I'm in love with the Justice League Dark, and ever since I got to know that project was in development, I was like, I can't wait for this. Now I was getting more confirmation because I was thinking that was cancelled because we didn't just hear anything about it, but we got confirmation that it's still in development. Uh,
That's Warner for you, right? I mean, that's
yeah,
all you can expect from them at this point is they're gonna announce a bunch of stuff and like look at the Black Adam announcement that happened like 2018 or 2017 or something crazy or even earlier than that. And now it's
dudes.
finally getting a release date and finally filming and all this other stuff. So like,
The
uh,
first,
they announce stuff just for clout sometimes and just be like, oh yeah, we're working on it, so they can like appease their fan base and then
the
wait 10
first,
years until everyone's like, is this real still? And they're like, oh yeah, it's still real.
the first mention that Warner Brothers made of Black Adam was in 26, a week after The Rock had this movie coming out, aka The Scorpion King. That's
Oh,
literally how
2016, yeah.
26, 2006. The first mention
Oh,
of, yeah,
2006. Okay.
the first mention of
I
Black
was
Adam
like,
was in
26?
2006.
26 hasn't happened yet, bro. It's
No, no,
21
yeah, I
right
know.
now.
Sorry, I'm stupid sometimes. Language barrier.
You're good. You're good.
No, but like, what is your opinion on the Justice League Dark?
I want to see it. I've wanted to see it for a while. I have no confidence it's coming anytime soon. I think that they've had the characters, they've had the opportunity to do this for a long time now. I wish they would have picked this up instead of even some of the more Teen Titan-y stuff that they've done recently. Like, don't get me wrong, some of those properties have been really fun and great, and all the stuff that they throw into their DC, whatever you want to, CW universe, whatever you want to call it.
Hey, listen
Like,
up. Titans is just
stop
shit.
spending money and time there. Just start giving us the stuff that you want to develop and you've talked about in the past, and we all want, right? I mean, Warner, man.
Dude, the
I
only
I
thing coming out
I
of
don't know why.
the only good
Go
thing
ahead.
coming out of DC television is Doom Patrol. Everything from the CW to Titans, everything. The rest is just like big shit. Titans was like Titan season 1 in my opinion was okay. Titan season
It
2
has
I
a good
think was getting
following.
better. It was a
Everything
good
has a good following,
it has a good
right? But
following.
because DC doesn't have a good stronghold yet, there's still this parsed fan base of reliving old films and old animation and stuff, and then the people who are on the more cutting edge and willing to watch the CW stuff. I think that if they did a few of the HBO Max series correctly, or even an exclusive film there or something, which I heard is coming from an animated side, that they would have significantly more success. And I think that Disney's kind of laying the blueprint for them to some degree. Yet Warner's always had these properties and the opportunity to do this. So I think that because they've kind of been sitting on their thumbs for a while, they're finally seeing somebody do it better than they ever could have and would have imagined could be done with the properties like DC has available to them. So I think now that Marvel's doing it, not only theatrically but through a streaming service, there's way more pressure on DC to deliver, and that's why I think we're getting some of the announcements and some of the stuff we're hearing
Yep.
from fandom and other stuff recently.
Oh, don't remind me of DC fandom, man.
Oh, it was a joke, but I mean, again, this is why a lot of the focus is where it's at, and why they're pushing certain things and starting to bring certain things back up, because they're seeing it done better and they see the market opportunity that they have. And I don't think, personally, I don't think that they know how to take the appropriate action to gain that market share. I just don't. I think Disney's too far ahead of them right now with Marvel and Star Wars properties for DC to catch up the way they have. But they're going to try. It's not say they won't, because they will. And a lot of it's probably going to fall flat on its face if it's handled similarly to the CW universe.
Soon, Warner Brothers rant on this channel. Soon. So, Landon, keep the rant into you right now, but you get your chance. You're trying.
I have so many things I can say. I could talk for hours on Warner Brothers and all the stupid stuff they've done.
Dude, I think we could basically do a 24-hour live stream about it, man.
We should. We just rant. And I will come with statistics and a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh my god.
And just straight blow your mind about the amount of money they've left on the table. And what they could have done, and why their movies have flopped, and how they've chosen to screw them over. And it's not just the politics that they play within their own organization. So
what's becoming the the joke of our channel right now? Also us ranting on Miss Marvel,
Oh my gosh, yeah, of course.
Guess what? We are going to have to do it again this week. Because yesterday this was. It came out of MCU Direct, and MCU Direct is they don't necessarily have the same good track record Charles Murphy and Daniel Richtman guys do, but they are still solid. They still have some
75,
80% accuracy.
Yeah, okay.
It's
There's
okay.
Some credence there.
So guess what? There's some new Miss Marvel controversy to talk about today. It's I see Landon. Oh my god. We got the news yesterday that Z-list characters, the ClanDynasts. I don't even know how to pronounce that word. I think it's ClanDynasts or something.
ClanDestine.
ClanDestine. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't know, man. It literally confirms what we have been talking about the past few months. Look, the ClanDestine is they stem off of the jinns from Muslim culture, and Jin is a character in Marvel Comics. He's he's relatively unknown, but he's a old sorcerer from back in the day. He's basically a genie. So it covers up to the genie rumor that we heard that Miss Marvel, her powers will come from a genie, and the ClanDestine will be her main villains. The armbands.
That was shown, yeah. It'll be empowered with cosmic essence or something like that.
So I think I was talking about with someone on in this one shiver of hope that I still have was in this MCU Direct article where they said they are not ditching the Inhumans. There will still be hints in this series, but it will take a couple of years for them to really come in again. But the groundwork will be laid. But man, the ClanDestine is fucking replacing Jinns, and the ClanDestine are replacing the Inhumans in this series. Oh my god.
All right. So one positive thing, right? She's still an Inhuman. For right now, they're still acknowledging that she is an Inhuman. So that's a win, across the board to start with, right? I think there's more credence to something I said. I think if it wasn't last week, it was the prior week. about how I think she's going to kind of get introduced to being a superhero in this series, and she's going to learn what it means to be a superhero. She's not going to have her typical powers. She might not even have any powers. It might just all be this armband with cosmic essence or energy or whatever you want to call it. But then I think at some point she's going to lose it, or something's going to happen, and then she's going to like interact with Terrigen Mist or something like. And this could be, future properties where this is happening, but this series can set all that up. I think that it's more about her learning to be a hero and who she needs to be and why she needs to be Miss Marvel, as opposed to actually trying to like flesh out her entire story in a single series. So I think this is the building block towards the royal family for the Inhumans, but I think it has to start here, and I don't mind if they do this, but you gotta pay it off. It has to be like that plot point that keeps
Yeah, you gotta
coming
at
back
least you
in
gotta at
these
least
series where
yeah.
you fill us in on what's going on. You can't just have this like maybe 2, 3 season arc with her through this series and then all of a sudden kill it and not have it go anywhere and expect us to just be like, oh yeah, she's still an Inhuman and believe it. It's this is what I think Marvel's trying to do. They're trying to build larger pieces of the story, give more depth to these characters through these series. They did a great job with Loki. They did a great job with WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. So like, there's already a great track record here. Let's. I'm struggling to trust them, but the Inhuman line is like, okay, you have my trust at like 85% right now. I believe you're going to do the right thing with this character. Prove to me that I'm not being stupid and believing in you and your capability to keep the Inhumans, right? And they're so beloved. I can't see them get trashed again. I will like rip my comic books apart and shred them and
Oh
probably
my
cry while
god.
doing it.
Hey, talking about comics really quick. Because I don't really want to talk about like Miss Marvel again for like 20 minutes. So talking about comic books real quick. I recently got this comics. Landon, I know you can see it, but I recently got this comic in the post. I have a Black Knight comic that came to me yesterday. I read the first issue yesterday evening. Very cool book from the start of it. I've
Nice.
been wanting to read Black Knight for a couple of years now, and with him coming into Eternals, like I thought it was time. Um,
Whoa.
going into the
One
last
question.
topic, going into
So hold on, question
yeah,
question
go
for
ahead.
you first about your
Question.
comic. Um, is this like the first? Is this like his origin comic, or is this just like another story with the
So
Black Knight? Because I'm curious. I don't know a lot about the character from the comic book, so I was wondering if you could share any other information on the Ebony Blade, or kind of the curse that
all
comes with
right.
it.
So
Um, so yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So this book is basically a ongoing story, but what it does is it basically reimagines the character a little bit. It
Oh, okay.
softly reboots some of the things that happened in the back in the day. It fills us in on the history of his family dynamic, Sir Percy of Scandia, Nathan Garrett, the other like Black Knights out that are
Hmm.
in his family tree from back in the day. And there are a couple of like from the first issue. There's like one. I'm not going to spoil it, of course, but there's one massive like mindfuck. And as you read through the book, you're like, oh damn, like I didn't see this coming.
Hmm.
Um, but I think this book it's relatively new. It just came out, but I think Marvel will like take a lot of inspiration from this book and this story exactly, just because it's
Okay.
so good in my opinion. Um,
I certainly hope so. I mean, you can tell Hawkeye series was based off of a couple comic runs, recent comic runs. So I think this would be a good
yeah,
one to base our
totally.
Black Knight off of.
Going into the last topic for today. You know Michael Keaton. He will be playing Batman again
Mm.
in The Flash. But in my opinion, the better role of the two that he played in comic books has been Vulture. I think his version of Vulture in Spider-Man: Homecoming was the best part of that movie. And I can't wait to see him back. Apparently, like we know he's in Morbius, But Michael Keaton was on the Jimmy Kimmel, no Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. I don't know. I don't quite sure who it was. I think he was on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and he basically confirmed that he was shooting Vulture stuff over the next couple of weeks for a secret Marvel project. Now, it could be that it is the reshoots for Doctor Strange. It could technically be things for the Craven the Hunter movie. Um, I don't know,
That's not
man.
Marvel based. That's Sony based, though.
It's still Marvel. It's still Marvel Comics,
Yeah,
you
but
know.
okay. So Keaton's contract is with Marvel, not with Sony. Keaton did not appear.
He did in
He appeared in
Morbius.
Homecoming, right? And he's appearing in Morbius, yes. But from my understanding, it's with Marvel. It's not with Sony. And Marvel's lending him the same way Sony lends Tom Holland, right? Kind of a
Oh,
similar
really?
vibe. That was my understanding of his interaction. That's why he's in Morbius. So I'm
Oh,
thinking
wow.
that his secret Marvel project is actually the one that's tied to Scarlett Johansson coming back. And I think that they're starting early filming for a, a personal opinion. It's going to be a Sinister Six movie because the rumor right now is that Sony wanted a separate Sinister Six property, and Marvel wanted to do one inside of the Spider-Man No Way Home. But then Sony convinced Marvel to do another team-up film where they got Spider-Man for a Sinister Six film. So there's not going to be six villains or a full Sinister Six team, quote unquote, in this Spider-Man No Way Home film. It's supposedly only five of the six, and then the sixth villain will be introduced through a separate Sinister Six property, which will be another Marvel Sony team up film. So I think that's what he could be filming for. And I
Imagining.
think that's what Scarlett Johansson is being brought in for because I think they want to play it kind of like a um, kind of from like a villain's perspective. So like you'll see the villains, the Sinister Six, more as the heroes or the anti-heroes, and Spider-Man or any of the other heroes in the film will be seen more as like a villain.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's why they want to bring her in because she has interesting perspective and could really benefit the project because she has experience with Marvel, she knows Feige, and she knows Disney, and I think she could really do that twist well. And I think it's somebody that Sony would trust enough to bring in to help with that project. So that's where my thoughts are. That's when as soon as I heard it, I was like, cool. There's the sixth member of the Sinister Six, and he's showing up in a Sinister Six movie. That's probably just in early development. He's doing like early shooting or costume testing and things like that. That's where my head's at right now with it.
yeah. Look, man. I have a theory about like Spider-Man No Way Home that like one of the post-credit scenes that I think is going to happen is like basically like another Michael Mando and Michael Keaton like Vulture and Scorpion thing about like, hey, we saw what these villains were able to do. Imagine what we could bring. Imagine
Yeah.
what damage we could do to Peter Parker, you know. And then we get like the Sinister Six, the main Sinister Six that we will get a movie
Correct.
about. Vulture,
Yep.
Scorpion, Shocker,
That's what I'm saying.
Mysterio.
Like, I'm not saying it's going to be the six that we see in the No Way Home film because I think those guys are going to die, right? And that those villains are going to return to their universe, quote unquote, or to their original state. I think you're right on track with that. I think it's going to be like the Vulture. It's going to be Scorpion. It's going to be, I guess one that we could see like Venom is kind of like that in between. I could see him falling on the wrong side of it. I could also see Mysterio coming back to your point. And then the other one that would be interesting, Shocker, getting
Yeah,
Shocker back. We already kind of saw him as well. So, and then maybe you add in Morbius to that mix, and that's the Sinister Six that they give us, right? Two Sony, and then you have what is that? Yeah,
Craven the Hunter.
Morbius. You get Morbius. You got Venom, Mysterio, Shocker. Oh, Craven, and
Vulture.
what's the other one? Vulture. Yeah. There you go. There's the Sinister
That's a
Six for
solid
you. I
lineup.
mean, there's so many variants, right? There's so many characters. I mean, I can literally start listing them off of my wall poster right next to me if you'd like. But I think they have plenty of opportunity to bring these characters in and do this, and I think Sony wants to do a Sinister Six movie because they know it'd be successful, and I think that they try to leverage like a Tom Holland, or even like an Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire type thing, as like a separate side property to play into this. I don't know. There's so many possibilities here. Uh, I'm right on board with you though. I'm right there with you on that Sinister Six theory for yours. Totally,
Hey
totally
man,
agree.
Sony has been wanting to do a Sinister Six movie for so long, so I wouldn't be
I mean, shoot, they
surprised
were
if
trying to do
it's
one with Mark Webb, right?
true.
In the Amazing Spider-Man. So
Heck, man, we talked our fair share of Marvel things again today, fair share of DC things, but I think we're going to end the podcast at this. So again, like always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this podcast, leave a like on the video, comment down below what you think. Definitely follow Landon on Twitch. Boulder Doobies, his channel is called. And follow us on Twitter at Geeks Everyday, the Superverse Podcast, where you find like all my updates about the channel. If I were to not be able to get a video out on the time that I want to get them out, I let that know on Twitter. Look out on the channel this week because me and a friend of mine, Captain Pennsylvania, will be recording a X-Men 97 like little podcast talking about the theories about the X-Men in the MCU. So definitely be on the lookout for that. So with that, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you on the next podcast. Have a great day, guys.